You know a quick way to design a church program flyer in Pixellab? That's what we are going to do today. Alright, I hope you're ready for that. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Good, so the first thing that we have to do is to change the background color of our work. Now I'm going to change the background color to white, and after that we can start putting in our text, right? So this is how I'm going to design this flyer. I'm going to start from the top to the down, right? So the first thing that I'm going to do is to import some two shapes, right? Probably I'll import a circular shape, and I'll probably change the color of it initially just to make sure that it's visible on my working space, right? So I'm just going to minimize it, let's say like this. Alright, so I'll just tap on the check mark and I'll send it to the top. I'm actually going to put logo onto it, so I'm just going to position it at the top over here. I think this is okay for me, or let me just push it down a little bit. Alright, so I'm going to change the color to white again. After that, I'll add a shadow to it. Now in my latest video I show you how to add these realistic shadows to your works. Okay, so let's see how best we can do this. So let me use the plus sign to make it a little bit fast. Let's see how it looks. Alright, I think this is not bad. This is kind of okay. So what I have to do is to just increase the radius of it, the blur radius, a little bit. I think I'm okay with this. Now I'm going to make a duplicate of this and also position it at the top like this. So I'm going to push it down just a little bit and push it to the other side too a little bit. After that, I can position the next one closer to it. So guys, I hope you are following this. This is something that you need to take your time and do, right? So after this, I'm going to import the logo onto it. So I have two logos. Probably I may not leave this logo in the video description because these logos are actually for some organization and I may not like to just leave their logo outside like that, right? So let me just pick it up. I'm picking up the first one over here, and I have to reduce the size of it, obviously. So I think this is okay. So I have to position it onto it like this. So just watch this video carefully and practice exactly what I'm doing right here, okay? Now after this, I have to go ahead and import the second logo. So let me just go through my gallery and pick one quickly. Right, so just searching through my gallery. So once I get the second one, I'll just use it like that. So I think I got a second one over here, and what I'm going to do is to tap on a check mark right here. Now I can go ahead and reduce the white area of it so that if I'm putting it on the shape, it will not give you any problem. Good, so this is what we have, and after this I have to go and reduce the size of it as well. So I think this is okay, and I also have to position it onto the shape perfectly. So let's do that quickly. Good, and I think this is okay for me. Now the next thing that I have to do is to enter the name of the organization and other details. So we are going to enter text. So I'm going to go to edit and I'll enter a text like Pencil KNUSC. Alright, I'll make it capitalized, and probably I'll change the font to, let's say, Montserrat medium. After this, I'll position it over here and I'll reduce the size of it to let's say 16 thereabouts. Okay, and I have to position it at the middle, right beneath the two shapes. Okay, so everything is going to be kind of center aligned, okay, so that we get a perfect match. And I'm going to change the color of it to one color. So I'll tap on a plus sign, and obviously I'm going to use a color like this. Yeah, I think this is okay, so I'll tap on OK, and this is what I'm going to have. Now I'm going to make a duplicate of this, and I'm going to enter a department or the committee name. So I'm going to enter like media committee, make it capitalized, and also position it at the middle, just like the one we did earlier. So this is why you have to take note when you are aligning your text, right? Because everything is going to be kind of center aligned. So you have to take note, take your time, and do this carefully. And I hope you guys are actually following this step by step. Okay, so after this, I also make a duplicate, go to edit, then I'll enter a text like presents. Obviously, I want to make it capitalized and bring it down. Okay, so I think the position of this one is not bad, it's cool, right? So let's see what we can do next. Okay, so the next thing that we have to do is to enter the remaining text, which is Tuesday prayer meeting. So I'm going to copy this particular text, then enter a text like Tuesday. And this one I'm going to change the color of it and also increase the size of it. And not just that, I also increase it, the line spacing within the text. I'll increase it, but before that, let me change the color, and I'm going to use gradient for this one. All right, so I think I'll use a gradient similar to the ones over here, but let me tap on a plus sign and change it over here. So I'm going to pick blue, and over here I'm going to pick a color like this. Yeah, I think this is okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this type of gradient, whereby I tapped on this. Let me show you. This is what I tapped on, right, to change the type of gradient. Now I'll tap on OK. Yeah, I think I like this, right? So I'll reduce the size of the text actually, and I'll go ahead to increase the line spacing of the text. So let's go to the line spacing, and I'm going to increase it a little bit. It's after this that we are going to enter other tests like prayer meeting. So let's do that quickly. Prayer, and for the prayer meeting or prayer, you're going to use a font like Go Bold Bold. So let's go to fonts. Let me see if it's available here. Go Bold. Alright, I have it over here. So I just picked up, and I'm going to use the same color that I used for the other text, which is the gradients we prepared. Good. And I'm going to increase the size of this text, okay, to fit perfectly over here, right? And I think 89 is okay. So we're going to push it over here, and you also have to push this text a little bit up. So the next thing that we are going to do is to actually make a duplicate of this and edit it to meeting. Make it capitalized and bring it down. Probably you're going to reduce the size of it like this. Okay, I think this one is okay. Good. So what we have to do right now is obvious that we have to push the text up, right? Alright, so having pushed the text up like this, what we have to do next is to go ahead and enter the remaining text that we have to enter. But before I enter the remaining text, I'm going to import one shape and change the color to, let's say, blue. So let's do that quickly. I want to pick a blue color over here, and I think this should be okay. Right, so I'm going to make sure that what the size of this shape is the same as what we are doing over here. Like I said, everything is going to be kind of center aligned. Okay, so let's watch this carefully. Right, so I'm going to position this just over here like this. Make this. Alright, so I'm just making it a little bit smaller. Then I'll increase the radius of it just a little bit. So let's see how it looks. Right, this isn't bad, but we just have to make it a little bit smaller, right? Okay, I think this is okay. We cannot bring it down like this and leave it over there. So what we have to do now is to enter the text that we have to enter. Right, so I'm going to make a duplicate of this text over here, which is present, and I'm going to change it to something like topic. And a topic for this, we're going to use something like salvation. So topic, we say salvation, and obviously I'm going to make it capitalized, and I'll probably change the color to white. So let me just bring it onto the shape first before I change the color of it. So quickly, let me change the color to white, and I have to increase the size of it. Okay, so I think this should be okay for us, and I'll make it bold. So I'll go to style and tap on bold to have it like this. Good, I think this is okay for us. Now the next thing that we have to do, in case you also want to maybe increase the line spacing, you can equally do that by going to line spacing and just increase it a little bit. Okay, it all depends on your preference. So I just increase it. Maybe you also want to do it like this. Here it's cool, you can do it like that. Right, so the next thing that we're going to do is to enter text like where they pick the topic from, which okay, I think we just have to enter it. I actually want to skip it, but let's just enter it. So we have John John 1 verse 2, John chapter 1 verse, okay, it's 12, and we also have First Corinthians chapter number 5 verse 17. Alright, so I'm going to make this capitalized and I'll bring it down, and obviously I'll have to change, you know, the size of it. So let's see how it's going to look over here. I'll make it a little bit capitalized by changing the style of it. Sorry, I mean bold, by changing the style of it this way. So after this, we can enter the name of the speaker. So I'll just go ahead, and probably for this one I may use Montserrat Bold or Montserrat Black for this. So I'll enter one imaginary name over here. So I'll just say speaker. Obviously, if you want to design this, they'll give you the name of the speaker already. Okay, so I'll enter the name like Vincent Fosu. Alright, I don't know anyone called Vincent Fosu, but I'm just entering the name like that. Okay, so I'll reduce the size of this. I think this is okay. Oh, I think I got to reduce it a little bit more. So let's say 19, and let me change the font to see how it will appear over there before we can go ahead and do any other thing we want. So let's see how it's going to appear over there. Let's say if it's going to follow our center alignment stuff that we are doing. So I'm going to use something like 18 and see how best it's going to appear. Okay, I think this is good. Alright, so I just have to bring it down a little bit like this. Okay, since this is not related to what is being put at the top, we need to separate them. This is one rule of graphic designing. It's called proximity, right? So right now we have to change the color of it, and I think I'm going to use a color similar to something like this. Right, so let's use this. I think let me just make it a little bit darker, and I'll prefer that. Good, this is okay for me. Right, so you can actually go ahead and enter the position of the person. That's pretty cool to enter, but in this tutorial I'm not going to enter the position of the person, right? So I'm just going to enter the venue and the date. So I'll make a duplicate of this and edit it to venue. So let's use Serene. Wow, Serene. Hey, what do you think we should use for this tutorial? Tell me. No, I can't hear you, man. Alright, you say Serene church premises, right? Okay, so that's what I'm going to write. Obviously I was asking you, the one watching the video, to tell me the name of the location that we should use, the venue that we should use for this tutorial, and you obviously say Serene church premises, right? So I think I have to reduce the size of this before we can have what we are doing, which has to deal with center alignment of stuff. I want everything to be within one space. So let's work on that quickly. And of course you can equally increase the size of the other text at the top so that your work will fit perfectly, but I just don't want to do that. That's why I'm doing it this way. Okay, so this is it, and the next thing I'm going to enter is a date. Right, so the date, I'm going to make a duplicate of it, then edit it. So let's say 28th of January. So 28th January 2022. Make it capitalized and bring it down. Obviously I may increase the size of it a little bit, so let's say 20, and I'm going to change the color of it to the previous color we used, and I'll position it over here like this. So it's after this point that I have to bring in one shape that will literally help me to do some kind of adjustment over here. So watch me as I do that quickly. Okay, so I'm going to leave all this stuff in the video description so that you can download it as well. And don't forget about the background. We are not done preparing the background yet, so we are equally going to work on a background properly, right? So I'm just going to reduce the size of it, and of course I'll write the time on this shape. That's why I'm actually bringing it in over here. And I want to rotate it a little bit, so let me go to the rotate bar and do that quickly. I think this is okay for me, so let me just bring it down a little bit to see how best I can do this, right? So I'm going to enter the time, which is probably going to be something like, let's say 6 p.m. right? So I'm going to make a duplicate of this, then change it to 6 p.m. Okay, so 6, then I'll write PM over here, make it capitalized, and of course I'm going to change the font, but I'm going to change the color instead, right? Not the font. Okay, I'm going to change the color white and put it on the blue, because white on the blue will be visible. That's the reason for changing the color of the text. I hope you get it now. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is to go to the alignment and make it center aligned like this. And of course I can increase the size of it a little bit just to show up clearly over there for people to see that this is the time that the program is going to start. Okay, so the next thing that we can do is to import a shape, and of course I want to change the color of this shape to blue, and I'll bring it down. And that's not all, I'll just change the radius size of it, and I think this is okay. After that I'll position it to the bottom like this, and guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to enter the associations handle at the bottom over there. Now before I even do that, let me work on the width of this. So I'm going to reduce it this way, and I think it's okay. Now I can even position it way down a little bit. Good. So after this we can enter the text that we want to enter. So I'm going to make a duplicate of this, then edit it. Alright, so I'm going to enter a text like pencil KNUST. Let's say that's the handle for the association, and I'm going to bring it down, and of course I'll change the color to white so that it becomes visible on the blue background. So I just have to position it well like this, and maybe just add a little bit of boldness to it like this. Then I'll tap on a check mark. Right, so what I have to do now is to enter the social media icons, and of course I'm going to use one font for that. So I just have to enter text like 𝒕𝒐𝒓. That stands for YouTube, Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. So let me go ahead and pick up my fonts, and of course all these fonts are available. You can download them. You can check out the video that will show on your screen to just download them. Over 4,000 plus fonts that you can literally use for free. Right, so I'm just going to position it over here like this, and obviously I have to change both the size and the color of the font. Good. So the first one is to change the color, and the next thing to do is to reduce the size. So let's see how this is going to look like as we position it onto our blue shape. And of course this appears pretty much good. So what we have to do now is to work on our background, because we don't want the background to be showing plainly like this. So we have to work on it. So we're going to import some shape quickly, not a shape but a background. Right, so let's see. Good, I think I'll use this. Right, so I'll just make sure it fits over here, and I'll bring it down like this. After bringing it down, what I have to do is to send it to the back like this. Good. And the next thing that I'm going to do is to import a main shape this time around like this. And guess what we are going to do now? Because we want to add a texture to this, we are going to use a gradient feature for it, and we have to tap on a plus sign over here, and as we have this over here like this and this over here, we just have to change this color to transparency. So let's tap on this color picker and move this slider this way. After that we make this one a plain white, so let's tap on the color picker again, make it white like this. Alright, so after this we have to actually push this one a little bit closer like this and tap on OK. So this is what we'll be having. After that we tap on a check mark and we go to texture. Then we pick the image we just added to the background, the same image, we pick it as a texture like this. So I think we got to pick that up again quickly. So let's do that quickly this time around. Good, so this is what we'll be having. I hope you can see the effect over here. Right, so let's position it to the back quickly and see how it's going to appear. Obviously we have to position it on top of the previous one like this. Good, so this is what we'll be having, and after this we actually have to go ahead and make a duplicate of these two tests. That's prayer meeting. So I'll make a duplicate of this and also a duplicate of this, and what we are going to do is to actually merge them together, increase the size, change the color to black, and use them for the background. So I'm just merging them, and I'm going to increase the size a little bit like this. I think this is okay, and I'm going to change the color to black. So I'll position it at the back, and not at the back like that, but on top of these two background we've entered over here. Good, so what I have to do now is to reduce the opacity of it, right? Then you can increase the size of it to fill the entire space, that if you want. Okay, so that's opacity of 2, right? So we can do the same thing again. So we just have to make a duplicate of this, and we are pretty much done over here, guys. So it's as simple as this. Let's position this one to the back and bring it on top of these two shapes over here. Good, so with this done, you can just go ahead and save your work. Okay, it's pretty much this way. So you tap on the save icon, save as image, then you save as a high quality or ultra, and you are good to go. So thank you so much for watching this tutorial, and I hope you've actually learned something out of it. And if you do, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and also hit that like button on this video, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bless up.